Brooke, so glad to be with you tonight. Go ahead and stand as we enter into some worship.
There is a sound I love to hear. It's the sound of the Savior's robe as he walks into the room where people pray, where we hear praises. Oh, it's all for you tonight. It's all for you tonight. Oh, we won't hold back our praise. Come on, sing it again. There is a sound. Oh, there's a sound I love to hear. It's the sound of the Savior's robe as he walks into the room where people pray, where we hear worship. Oh, come and ride it on our praise today. Awake my soul and sing his praise aloud, sing his praise aloud. Oh, awake my soul and sing his praise aloud, oh, sing his praise aloud. Sing your praise aloud. For all our days we will sing. Awake my soul and sing his praise aloud. We'll sing your praise aloud. Oh, give your praise
What is up, Brooke? Did you exchange with Zach? Hey, y'all can take a seat. What's up? If you don't have a Zach in your life, get one.
Yeah,
Did you
for sure.
I mean, if you didn't see that, that was just about as money as it gets. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Billy.
I'm Courtney.
We hang around here a lot. We're the dynamic duo. If you haven't,
This is it?
If you don't know Courtney. She runs this place.
You should know me.
Did you hear all those woo whoops?
I know.
When you say you run the place, you hear all those. Yes. Okay. See, everyone
I'll
knows.
pay you
Courtney
guys
runs
after
it.
for that.
So that was $20 each. We have a super fun kickoff for this evening. It is going to be a little competition of sorts. Do you know what you need for a competition? Competitors.
We need some people.
Nailed it. So we have 3 competitors. If you are one of those 3, please stand. Come to the stage. Will you help us bring up these competitors? Courtney, tell us about them.
We've got Chelsea.
Woo!
We've got Benji. And we've got Nick tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up.
Yeah, girl.
Okay. One of y'all stand in like more of the middle area, and then maybe just come all the way like to right here, so everyone can see how good looking you guys are. Okay. Now, we kept this a pretty good secret of what they're doing. So like Nick was in here before.
Very good secret.
Did I kick you out or what? So he doesn't know what he's getting in for, but it takes a lot of athletic ability to do what we're gonna do, okay?
Yeah, I hope y'all stretch today. You're hydrated.
Is everyone stretched out? Do some lunges. Get moving, okay? You guys gotta prepare yourself. Now, I've got my good friend Sam here who's gonna provide the supplies. And this first competition is intense. Nice. You got it? Yeah. This first competition requires speed, agility, stamina, endurance, all the key words to athleticism. So Sam is gonna hand each of you an ice cube. And what you have to do is the first one to melt the ice cube wins. Benji has what looks like 2. Life's tough sometimes.
Wait,
Fancy lemons. We're kidding.
wait.
Here, trade him out. You get whatever it takes.
Whatever it
And
takes.
we're gonna start on 3. 1, 2, 3, go! Oh yeah, we've got the fire starter. We've got the chomper.
That's right.
Second
In the
chomper.
mouth. Oh,
I like the fire starter technique.
chewing.
What could happen? At any
That's
moment, this
good.
could be gone. Is it there?
That's good.
I feel
That's-
strips
check.
of water still.
Oh,
Nick's gone! Nick wins!
Nick
Woo!
wins! All right, hey Nick, I've got a question for you. What was going through your mind? Like what were you planning?
Brain freeze.
Brain freeze. You heard it here.
Brain freeze is the way to win it. Okay. Are you guys up
Sorry.
for another challenge? Yes, good, perfect. Nick's ready. Okay, so for our second challenge, this takes even more speed, even more agility, even more endurance and strength. Just brute strength. So what we're gonna do here is hand each of you a bag of marshmallows. These are very
A
important.
whole bag.
You're gonna need the bag. Will you open that?
Ooh. Wow.
Okay. And what we're gonna do is find out who can fit the most marshmallows in their mouth. Because what else do you do with marshmallows? Okay.
We're gonna do it as a group.
all at once.
Yeah.
I know.
We're gonna do it as a group. We're gonna all count together.
There's a
One
trash
at a time.
can back
You ready?
there.
1.
1. No, just put it in there.
Put
Chubby
it in
bunny.
there,
Do you ever
Benji.
play
Get
Chubby
it in
Bunny?
there, Benji.
Okay, ready? Go. Just put 1 in there. Is there 1? Are you 2? Do you already have 2? Okay, 2. All right, count with me. We gotta go quicker. 3, 4. Don't chew it. 5.
Not how many can you
How many do
eat?
you have?
How many can go
Hold
in
on,
your mouth?
Hold on. Chelsea's the only one with 5. 3, 4. Everyone get to the same
Wow,
number.
we don't know how to count.
Is everyone at 4?
Benji.
5.
Benji, what you
Everyone
got?
get to 5.
Benji's at 5.
Everyone get to 6.
6. Come on, Nick. You can do it.
That's it. Let's go to 7. Okay. She saw that Blue Man Group one.
Yeah.
Nailing it. Okay.
Hey, Billy, just real quick.
Yeah.
How you been doing lately?
I've been good.
Yeah.
Just kicking it old school
I mean,
style, you know?
I've been gone.
Been gone,
Kinda everything's been on your back.
I missed you, you know?
Yeah,
It's pretty good
yeah.
to hang out.
All right, let's get back to it.
Okay.
What were we at? Like 7?
Okay. Nick's out. Benji's
out.
holding in.
Come on, Benji.
Chelsea wins.
Woo!
Woo!
All right. Hey,
Just spit them back into your bag.
It
because
is
we're
now
not
yours.
going to use these.
That is now your bag.
That is your own personal
We'll be selling
marshmallow
those
bag.
out back later.
Okay. Now, I can take the bags for you real quick. Well done. Hey,
that's
so far, how are these guys
so
doing? Make some
slimy.
noise.
That is so slimy.
Okay. Hey, we got to bring the music way down for this
Yeah.
one. This is important. We are going to split this room up a little bit. Chelsea, will you stand right like there? You might have to go close to the stairs.
Over by me.
Nick, will you stand like right here? Because this is going to be your section. Benji, You're right here. Okay. So we need your guys' help. This is your section. You guys are a team. This group is Chelsea's team.
All right.
I like that style. And this group is Benji's team. Yeah.
Ooh.
There was some bass in that.
Yeah, there was. There was.
Okay. Now, everybody, this is important. Get out your phones. Oh, yes. Dang it. I meant to tell you, Nick, that you need your phone. Who has it? Right there. He's got it for you. Okay.
I can't see.
That was my fault. I should have given you mine, Nick. Because this is going to be awesome. You guys aren't going to believe this.
I left mine in my other outfit.
Nick, Benji, or Chelsea can do this, but if one of you gets it and hands it to them first, that equally counts as a win for them. And what we're going to do is we are all going to try to get a hold of our mom and say Happy Mother's Day. First one to get a hold of a mom that I can talk
in your
to
group.
on the mic. Hold on, Benji. Phone's locked. Phone's
Benji,
locked.
Michelle,
Hey.
it's not time.
Phone's locked. Okay. On 3. Yeah. So like if Tommy gets his mom on the phone,
One of your
hands it to
people.
you win. If someone in that section gets it to Benji, hands it to him, and he gets a phone to me with a mom on the phone, you win. And we're gonna say Happy Mother's Day up here to that one. If you get a hold of your mom and you don't win, you better still tell her Happy Mother's Day. Okay. Are you ready? Phone's locked. 3.
She's gonna think something wrong.
Get ready for one of them to hand it to you, 2, 1,
One.
go!
Go!
Call your mom!
Call your mom.
Call your mom!
Everyone over here, Chelsea's mom is in a theater,
Whoa,
so
that
she's
was
really
so
gonna need
fast.
some help
No
over
way.
here today.
Oh, man. If this is real. Hello?
Can you put that on speaker?
Yep, hold on. I got you. Hello? Mama Marie, is this you?
It's Mama Jenny.
Jenny, how are you? This is Billy, and you're on the phone with like 150 to 200 young professionals at the Brook Gathering, and I'm on stage in front of them, and our competition was Say Happy Mother's Day. So Happy Mother's Day if you didn't hear it.
Oh,
Also, who's your son or daughter?
Marie.
Yes! Nailed it. Okay. Where are you sitting? Are you on this section? Unreal. So we have a tie. Oh, well, we love you, Jenny. Have a great Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Peace out.
Oh, that was good.
Okay.
That was really good.
That was unbelievably fast. I'm not sure our phones were locked for that one.
Wow.
Okay.
It's like she was already on the phone with her.
So now we have to just figure out a winner. Round of applause. Benji. Nick. Oh. Chelsea.
All right, I think it's Chelsea.
I think it's Chelsea.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Great job.
Ladies win. Chelsea, just real quick, I want to ask you, what words of advice do you want to give to other young women who like just don't know that they, got what it takes?
Oh, man.
To win this competition
To win
specifically.
this competition? Man, I mean, you have to talk really, really, like, a lot to work out the jaw muscles to make sure that, like, you can fit. Okay, I'm done.
So that she can fit it in her mouth. Okay, great. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, we're super stoked to have you guys tonight. We do Brook Gathering once a month. This has been awesome already. We're going to have a blast as we continue. And this whole sports theme and athletic trial that these three just went to is to prepare us for this summer. Because we're going to be doing Brook Sports. Brook Sports. If you were here last summer and went to Brook Sports all the time, can I get a whoop whoop?
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, sick. Okay. So we're going to be doing this, kicking it off May 15th at 1:30 at Wash Park. It's going to be a blast. We can't wait to see you there.
Be there, be
spike
square.
ball, volleyball,
Or any other shape.
marshmallow competitions. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, tomorrow we have something super exciting starting. We have our Multiply Retreat.
Woo!
It's 2 days. It is tomorrow and Saturday. It starts tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I want to say personally, I have done this twice, actually, and it has been amazing for me and my own spiritual growth, learning different tools and tactics that I can use to help spread the word of Jesus and further his kingdom. So I really recommend that anyone who has tomorrow or Saturday to come and be a part of it. It's amazing.
Sign up tonight. Hey, if you got a rock on your finger, if you're engaged right now, we are going to be doing a course in June, starting on June 8th, called Getting Serious. Or if you're in just a super serious stage of your relationship, come talk to me or email me, billy@rst.church. Talk to me after, get my number from someone if you don't have it, and text me. I'd love to connect with you. That's kicking off. We're going to be doing that all in June. It's going to be awesome. Okay. I think we need to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Everyone's wondering why I'm wearing these shoes.
Yeah. Been wondering all day.
And it's because they're Blazers and we all wear them. But you also might be wondering, do we always look this good?
We do.
And the answer is yes, obviously.
We do.
But we don't always dress this way.
Well, I do.
This attire might suit you well at the Brook birthday bash.
That's right. The Brook is turning 2. Our next happy hour on, Billy, what day is it?
May 14th.
May 14th at the Denver Art Museum.
Oh.
We are going to be celebrating the Brook turning 2. So make sure that you guys go on the app, get your tickets before they all sell out, because this one is going to be amazing, and we don't want you guys to miss out.
It's going to be fire. Hey, tonight we've got an awesome group coming at us. We are going to be talking about quarter-life crisis. Courtney, you just returned from yours.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was in Europe for 2 weeks,
Hey,
going through a
thank God
midlife.
she's back. Can we get
Yeah,
some noise for
quarter-life
Courtney being
crisis.
back? Thank God.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back.
I wasn't
Missed
sure
you
if
guys.
I was going to make it through your whole trip being here, but we did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're talking about quarter life crisis. We got an awesome group coming up. Check out this video. Enjoy.
Brooke, what's up? How you guys doing? Good?
Yeah.
Welcome to everybody who is joining us online. Welcome to everybody who is here in person. If you guys have come to gatherings before, you know that we love to bring a community together, do a talk on faith, and we're going to try something a little different tonight, where we're going to kind of engage in more of like podcast style, conversational, kind of long-form interview.
Getting back to our roots.
That's right. We're getting back to how the
Okay.
Brook
Live.
started right there. We got Instagram Live, we got the audience online, and we got everybody here. And we're talking quarter-life crisis. Ooh. And so let me just kind of introduce this topic for tonight. So I think as young professionals, like, we live in a unique culture. I mean, can we agree on that? Absolutely. It is a unique culture. And I think at any time as a young professional, that there will be times where we will wrestle with these difficult topics of career, of relationships, of sex, of power, of influence, of social media, and the things that are kind of glaring at us. And so what we want to do tonight is to unapologetically dive into some of these difficult topics and kind of address them head on, and hope in the hope that we can glean some wisdom from the two of you. And so I just want to introduce the two people who are with me tonight. Many of you guys know Zach Hammer and Molly Soderstrom. So Molly is the executive director of the Brook. Molly is a thought leader, but also, I would say, a leader. And anytime I meet a young lady in this city, my first point of advice is get time with Molly Soderstrom, because she is a profound leader, and I think that she also is a prophetic voice in our community. So, Molly, it's an honor to have you with us. And then my boy, Zach Hammer. Zach, there is a verse that just comes to mind that when I read the verse, I associate you with it. So I'm going to share it. Okay, 1 Timothy 4:12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers, which is all of us, in speech, in conduct, in faith, in love, and in purity. And Zach is a guy who, if you have ever been around him, he is constantly setting an example for the people that he leads, but also the people that he leads up to. And so I think that there's a lot of wisdom Zach can share with us. So Zach, thank you for being here. It's an honor.
I wasn't expecting to tear up this early, man.
And he's also my really good friend, and I love working with him. So, okay, I want to just dive right in. Molly, I'm going to start with you. So topic tonight is quarter-life crisis. Yes. How do you get into a quarter-life crisis? And if somebody's in the audience this evening and they're like, am I in a quarter-life crisis? How would they know?
Yeah, how would they know?
Yeah.
So I think maybe if you find yourself in a spot where you've been like working towards something for a long time, maybe what feels like your whole life, and then you get there and then think, is that it? Like, is that all life's cracked up to be? Or maybe you find yourself in a situation right now where you're just feeling like stuck. You don't know how to move forward. You don't know how to move ahead with your life. Maybe you're in a quarter life crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a quarter life crisis, Zach?
I think I'm in one now. I'm not sure.
Okay. So there's a lot of talk, I think, today in our world around this idea of purpose. And I think all of us at some time in our lives, we ask the questions like, what is the purpose of life and what is the meaning of life? And so what I actually want to ask Molly is where do people get it wrong? Like, especially thinking through the lens of young professionals.
Yeah. I really think we've been sold a lie our whole life. I mean, if we look at the culture that shapes us and social media, it tells us that, sex and achievements and fame all lead to finding fulfillment and purpose in life when it's just not true. And so I think we go down that path striving for those things, and then when they fall short, we're just kind of left broken.
Yeah.
We're left lonely.
Have you ever had an experience where you were really looking forward to something? And it might have been an event, it might have been a relationship, and you sort of experienced that, and then you found yourself disappointed? Has that ever happened?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know when I first came to college, I was so excited. I'm like, all these new people who want to grow in so many different ways, and just never really found a group of people who fully I could relate to. And then COVID happened, so I didn't really get the last 2 years of my college experience anyways. And I came back from it like, dang, that was kind of there was fun aspects, but it felt like a letdown.
Yeah.
I think of prom. I think a quarter life crisis is kind of like prom. The most fun part about prom is looking forward to it, right? You get all dressed up. It's so fun. And then actual prom is lame, right? That's kind of like a quarter life crisis. You're like, this is going to be awesome. Like, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
It's disappointing.
It's disappointing, right? But I think I experienced that, especially in my young 20s, when I didn't have great friendships growing up, and I thought, you know what? Like, when I get older and like I'm out of college and all this stuff, I'm gonna have great friendships. But I ended up like really lonely for a long time, and I just didn't expect to feel that way, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
So you mentioned when you were younger, kind of having these expectations for how life was supposed to go, and I think we all can relate to that. Let's go back to you guys as 5-year-olds. Okay. In fact, I think we have a picture. Can we throw that picture up?
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right. That's Molly.
Really?
Yeah, that's Molly
Okay.
on the
Me,
left.
yeah.
Couldn't tell the difference.
Which one is you?
Dude, I'm the crying one, of course, man.
And that's me on the, yeah.
Oh man.
Doing
Tim.
something.
Just doing my thing.
Doing your
You know
thing.
how
Not
it
much has
goes.
changed. Not much has changed.
Okay, so when you guys were that age, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Man. Well, in that picture specifically, the reason I'm crying is my parents woke me up, and all I wanted to do was nap. Nothing has really changed since then.
Just let me sleep. Yeah, right. I wanted to be a grown-up when I grew up. I was the youngest of 5 kids, and in that picture, I was wearing like these big clothes that were my sister's. I just wanted to like be a grown-up. I didn't really know what it was, but I just didn't want to be a little Molly, so I wanted to be a grown-up.
Yeah, I wanted to be a trash man. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I watched the guy go by by the house every day, and I was, man, you know what? Some dreams never come true, I guess.
That's too bad.
There's still time.
Okay, so we're talking about meaning and purpose, and I'm sure like everybody, I'm sure everybody in the room at some point is like, okay, I actually want to know like what is the answer because I'm searching it, and so sometimes purpose is like this abstract concept, like kind of out in the stratosphere, and we're like, I'm not really sure what it is. Molly, just like cut to the chase. What is the purpose of life, and what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, when I think about purpose, I think of kind of the general purpose that we're all called to in life as believers if you made a decision to follow God. And then there's more specific purposes within that. But our general purpose is actually super clear. It's found in Matthew 28:19 through 20. And this is where we as believers are given our purpose. It says, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teaching them to do everything I've commanded you, and surely I'll be with you always. And we find this passage, it's really sweet. So Jesus dies on the cross, and he rises from the dead. And he says that, you know what? If you follow me, if you find your life in me, I am going to give you a purpose. And that's exactly what he does. He goes back after he raises from the dead to his 12 disciples, these guys who had just been hanging out with him. And before he ascends into heaven to be with the Father, he looks at these guys, and it's like someone's famous last words. You know, someone's on their deathbed, and these 12 disciples are like, what's this guy, what's he going to say, you know? And he tells them, go and make disciples. So our purpose, if you have made the decision to follow Jesus, you have a clear purpose. You don't have to search. You don't have to look far and wide. He calls you to be a disciple and to make disciples, to follow Jesus. And I can't tell you how reassuring that has been for me over the course of my life. I've moved around. I've had friends come and go. I was single, married, a mom. I've taken on different jobs. But in the midst of all of that, God says, there is one thing that remains, Molly. Be a disciple. Make disciples. Be a disciple. Make disciples, no matter where you're at in life. And that has given me so much confidence to always know what I am called to do, really.
Yeah.
So that is our general purpose as believers. And if you haven't made a decision to follow Jesus, I would encourage you to. If you are looking for purpose, let me tell you, Jesus has an incredible purpose for your life. And so then after that, that's our general purpose, right?
Yeah.
Then within that purpose, God has created us each uniquely with specific gifts and talents that he has placed inside of us. And I would say the more that you live out your general purpose of being a disciple and really engage in that, see, making disciples isn't just for pastors, for professionals, it's for everyday people like you and me. The more that you actually engage in that purpose, the more you'll find even your specific purpose, the unique things within that bring you joy, that God has created for you to do. And we see in Psalm 139, I love Psalm 139, it talks about how God is the creator. And so if we want to find our purpose, it would make sense that we look to the creator who created us to show us what our purpose is. Psalm 139:13 says, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." So God is creator. He has determined our general purpose, but also our specific purpose. It goes on to say in verse 16, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." So even the things that you don't know that you're specifically good at, the way that God has created you, he is crafting and creating a picture of what he's wanting you to become, which is a really, really beautiful thing.
Wow.
And so I've heard it said a couple times that, your 20s and your 30s are for figuring out what you're good at, what you like. Your 20s and 30s are a time to try new things. You're not meant to know it all. Your 40s are for becoming kind of more of an expert in those areas and really embracing who you are. And then your 50s and 60s are for really giving back and just helping others grow in those things. But I think it can be hard sometimes when you're in your 20s and 30s because, after you graduate college, it's kind of assumed like you're supposed to just know it all, right? Like you've arrived. But in reality, there's a lot of pressure in that. And so if I could say, I think one thing this evening is just to even break the tension that some of you may have come in tonight and you feel like you're the only one who doesn't know where they're headed, what they're doing, or even maybe what your purpose is. But I just want to tell you, you are in good company.
Yeah.
You're in a room with others who are trying to figure out the same thing, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
What a relief that is, too, just to hear you say that and to think, okay, I don't have to have it all figured out right now in this moment. And it's hard, too, because I think from, the time that we're kids, we are instantly thrust into this, performance culture. Sometimes it happens through sports, it happens through academics, but, we are taught at a young age to perform and to achieve. And so much of the gospel is against striving. It's against achieving. It's about what he did, not about what we did. And so I just think that's a relief. So kind of what I'm hearing you say, Molly, is there's this universal calling that applies to all people, to love God, to love people, to make disciples. But then there's this specific calling that each of us has. So if somebody's out there okay, I'm trying to figure out that specific calling, how do I take a step forward? What's your practical wisdom for doing so?
Yeah, so I would say you don't just have to quit your job to try something else. I think I've seen this actually modeled very well with a lot of people in the Brook, where while working a job, a lot of people start volunteering in different capacities outside their job to try things to see if they even like them. A great example of this is Steve Kumick.
Where's Steve at?
Is he in the audience somewhere
There he
tonight?
is.
There he is. He's
Steve
in the back.
is.
Woohoo! Yeah, Steve is awesome. He got involved here at the Brook and at Restoration. And he was soon asked to volunteer in the kids ministry, okay? And Steve had never done kids ministry previously, but after some thought, he said yes to it. He said, sure, I'll give it a try. How do you know if you don't try something, right? And so he soon saw that he loved doing kids ministry and has now been promoted to a kids lead, and he helps with my kids every Sunday. He's amazing. And when the moms drop off their kids, they feel really safe because he looks like he should be like a linebacker, right? So nobody's gonna do anything to these kids. But he just tried something, right? So I think just taking small steps and trying something, it doesn't mean you have to change your whole career, but just trying something.
Yeah, that's so good.
Great.
I remember when I was early 20s, just kind of starting to follow Jesus and starting to ask him, like, God, okay, what does my purpose look like in terms of following you? I was attending a church, and I started serving, and my job every single day was to go through the auditorium after the service and pick up all the trash. And so I would pick up, like, coffee cups, like Kleenexes. Like, it's kind of strange, the things that you would find, every now and then. And I remember thinking at the time, like, okay, God, this doesn't feel super glorious. It doesn't feel like this is like the fulfillment of my destiny, but there was something divine about those small moments of faithfulness. And I see how God opened doors through the relationships that were formed in that season of life. And so I love that practical wisdom of just take the first step and get started.
And, like, things came full circle. You wanted to be a trash man as a kid, and
Maybe I did.
Maybe it was anointed. Who knows?
That's prophetic. Wow.
That's why they call me up.
Man, that's awesome. Okay, I love this topic of purpose, but we must move on. So I read a stat this past week as we were thinking about this topic that was disturbing. 56% of Gen Z, and I would also argue that this probably applies to millennials, but the stat was for Gen Zs. 56% of Gen Zs reported that they felt intense feelings of loneliness at least twice a month. And so I think that there is something happening in kind of the greater cultural stratosphere that there is a loneliness epidemic, there is an anxiety epidemic, there is a depression epidemic, and we can talk up here at length about the reasons why. I think undoubtedly social media has a part to play, right? Social media. I think that there is this kind of feeling of project self where we are looking inward. It's a culture of radical individualism where our eyes are not focused on others, our eyes are focused on ourselves. And it's interesting how even in our God-ordained design, that can create depression. Yeah. But I think that most importantly, what has happened and what I want to talk about with you guys is there's been this departure from God-ordained community, like biblical community. And that's something that's not as present in our lives anymore. And so, Zach, I kind of just want to start with you. What is the biggest issue facing young professionals on this topic of community?
That's big. I think one of the biggest things, especially since we live in such a self-centered world, everything is about me, me, me.
Yeah.
We often move to two different tendencies when it comes to when we're going through something like a quarter-life crisis, when we're going through a transitional period in our life, like maybe you're out of college or you're in a new career field or you're just straight out of a job or you move to a new city because of COVID. And in the midst of that, we often tend to do two things, right? One of the things I think we do is we either fully isolate. We just choose to be alone and push everyone out, whether we intentionally do it or we do it unintentionally. And the other thing we often do is we surround ourselves with just the wrong people. And so I think Proverbs brings this up super, super well. Proverbs 18:1 kind of talks a little bit about how we isolate. And it says, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. And that just goes to show when we isolate ourselves in the midst of when we're going through something like a quarter-life crisis, we're not being filled in with all the good advice and the good wisdom of people who care for us. And in Proverbs 13:20, it says this right here, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. And so just because you have people around you doesn't mean that they're the best people for you. And so it's just as bad to be alone as it is to be around the wrong people.
See, so that is profound, Zach, because what you're saying is that like, it's not everybody, because I think we hear the quote all the time, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And the focus is oftentimes on, okay, get yourself in the right circles. Like, choose your circle. And I think that's important. But there's also like this other subset of people who will isolate. Yeah. And isolate, if I'm hearing you correctly, can be equally as destructive to the human heart as being with the wrong people.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for my personal self, isolation is my tendency.
Yeah, me too.
And so in the midst of stress and struggle and like quarter-life crisis, to use our title, is to be alone and to push people away who actually want to help build me up and pull me up and point me more towards God.
Yeah. So then on the other hand, though, you are saying that it is important to make sure that we surround ourselves with the
Yeah,
right people.
absolutely.
And let's just take a minute. So just so we're not the only people that are up here talking, okay, if you're listening and joining us online, text right now your most trusted friend and just ask them what is the most important quality that they look for in a friend. And if you're joining us in the audience tonight, go ahead and take 30 seconds, look to the person next to you, and just tell them what is the most important quality that you look for in friendship. Go. Boom. All right, let's bring it back. Lots of good conversation I'm hearing.
Oh, man.
All right. So Zach, just cut the tension for us. Just call it out. What is the most important quality in a friend?
I know a lot of us are probably thinking maybe it's someone who's really reliable, someone who is a really strong follower of Jesus, maybe someone who's super trustworthy. It's none of those, actually. The most important quality to look for in a friend is someone who has a ski and scout condo that they'll let you use. And if you're that person, please find me on the porch. We're best friends now. I can't wait to hang out with you this winter. It's going to be awesome.
Can we edit that out?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
We should.
No, if you're online, also text me, DM, whatever it is.
Okay, all right. Those are the qualities you look for in a friend. Okay, but so more real now. We've talked about friendship, but then we've also talked about this word community. And so, like, the thing about Denver, a lot of us in this room, most people have probably come to Denver in the last 5 years. A lot of people in this room have come here in the last year. It is a highly transient community. And so instantly when a young professional moves here, they are seeking out friendships. Zach, speak to us for a minute about the difference between friendship and community.
And I think it's such a stark difference that we oftentimes overlook because, like, look around. We're surrounded by so many people constantly. We're constantly talking to people, texting people, interacting with one another online. And so we have a lot of friends, but it doesn't necessarily mean we have deep, meaningful community. And so friendships, I kind of think, are more people who are kind of in your life, but community are the people who are genuinely a part of your life, who invest in you and you invest in them as well.
Yeah. You know, Simple Church is something that we talk about a lot here. And I want to just like unveil that for a moment. Molly, you and I are in a Simple Church together.
Yeah, we are.
We meet every single Tuesday night. And Simple Church is not just like a program. It's not something that we just do in church. Simple Church is like the place where we actually practice community. Yeah. In fact, throw that picture up of our Simple Church. You can there it is. That's our Simple Church. And we meet Tuesday nights, and it's a little chaotic. We have kids running around. We have multi-generations, but I think at its heart, our Simple Church is a place where we come together and we really do like walk through life. Just last night, 2 nights ago, we met and we talked at length about a person considering a career change.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think it's almost like a discipline to meet together weekly because there's so many things fighting for our time. But I do think it's something that you really have to prioritize and say this is going to be important, and I'm going to build everything else around that.
Yeah, it makes me think a lot of this verse, Hebrews 10:24 through 25. It says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet with one another, as is the habit of many." And that's such an easy thing to do, especially in Denver and in a city where we're doing so many things all the time. It's so easy to get caught up in going to weddings, traveling, even park days, things that are good and things that are fun that we allow to distract us from intentionally investing in community.
So if someone's in here and they want to take the first step at getting involved in like biblical community, what advice would you guys have for them?
Join a Simple Church.
Yeah, totally. Join a Simple Church. I also think my therapist told me this at one point. You know how, when I was
I love that you see a therapist, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think every single person should see a therapist at some point in their life. So thanks for being a leader.
Yeah, no. When I was single, I had like a list of qualities I was looking for in a husband, and this is kind of what I had my sights set on. But my therapist told me it's the same with friends. Like, I think we just have this thought of, like good friends are just going to like naturally happen. It should be easy, But proximity plays a huge factor in that. Most of your life growing up, your friends are in close proximity because you're in school with them. And after you graduate college, you don't have just these built-in relationships really close by. And so I think a great thing to do is even just like list out qualities that you're looking for in quality relationships. Because like you said, you can easily choose the wrong friends and it can lead you astray.
Yeah. And I feel like what I'm also hearing too is just like taking that initiative and just saying, okay, I'm going to get involved.
Yeah.
And it's almost an act of faith. Yeah. It's an act of faith. It's saying, all right, God, I trust that I may not know these people. I may not understand this community, but I'm going to step out in faith and trust you that this is part of your design.
Yeah, like if you're here tonight, you should meet somebody new and get their phone number and get to know them. I say the people that I know who have the best relationships are initiative takers. Like, be the first one to take initiative. No one's ever been mad because, someone's texted you to go for coffee. Like, it's a flattering thing. So be an initiative taker in relationships.
That's good. Okay, I want to introduce our next segment with a quote. This is a quote that I've heard a lot growing up, and I'm just going to read it to you. In the business world, people don't sleep past 7 a.m., get up and go to work. My dad every day of my childhood. I'm not making this up. My dad would walk into my room, usually earlier than 7 a.m. He would flip the lights on, open up the blinds, and say this to me. Some of you are like, yes, I know. I know exactly what that's like, right? And it's funny, too, because I think that his words could have probably been salted with a little more grace, but there was something to that in the sense that, growing up, like the foremost characteristic that makes being a child different from being an adult is freedom. Like, I think of Mel Gibson and Braveheart, right? It is freedom. Like, it is the idea of getting out from underneath the roof and the authority of your parents and stepping out into the world and making your own decisions and pursuing your own relationships. I think, like, the runner-up to freedom is your career. And what's hard, too, as young professionals, too, is I think that because we're in this achievement culture, we spend so much time and we put so much expectation into a fruitful career, and we get college degrees. And then what can end up sometimes happening is that we get into that career in hopes that we're going to finally receive the reward from all the fruits of our labor, and we find ourselves disappointed. There's a quote that I hear all the time that drives me nuts, and I want to get your guys' opinion on it. We grew up hearing things like, follow your passion. The more cliche version is, if you can dream it, Zach, you can do it.
Oh, my gosh.
If you can dream it, you can do it. Okay, here's my question to you guys. Is that good advice?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think of American Idol. You see so many horrible singers on stage because somebody's told them just follow your passion. It's horrifying, right?
Yeah.
It is not good advice. Yeah. What about you, Tim? Like, why don't you think that's good advice?
I think it's horrible advice. I think it's terrible. And here's why. Is passions are not logical. Inherently, they are not logical. If everybody followed their passions, everybody would be too busy launching their singing and acting and modeling and professional sports careers. Nobody that I know is passionate about picking up trash or fixing sewage lines.
Maybe 5-year-old you, but
Maybe 5-year-old me, exactly. But society would collapse if we all inherently followed our passions. Another quote from my dad, he said this to me one time, I'm not making this up, 18 years old. Tim, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than becoming a professional baseball player. Ouch. I wanted to become a professional baseball player. Man. Now, granted, there could have been a little more grace there, but there was some wisdom there. And what I mean by that, I'll translate on behalf of my dad. What he was trying to say was, Tim, you need to pursue something practical, and also your identity as a human being is not discovered in the thing that you do.
Yeah.
It's discovered in who God says that you are. And so I think that, like, when we boil our careers down, the reality is the reason why we work, if I can be blunt, is we get paid to do it.
Dang.
Like a lot of us in this room, like, we may not be necessarily passionate about our jobs, and not everybody is passionate about their jobs. But I bet you, if your career stopped paying you, you probably wouldn't keep working there, right? And so I think it's good to remember that, like, so oftentimes as young professionals, we're asked, what do you do? And our first response is, I work at this place because our identity is kind of in our careers. And so I just made a list of why do we work? Like, why do we have careers? Okay, first, we work to provide. Yeah. We need money. And if you think about the biblical purpose behind why we work, it's actually to provide for your family. Like, that is a central purpose of why we work. And so some of you might be in the room and thinking, like, I don't have a family. I'm single. Work for your future family. Like, what a beautiful act of stewardship if you can provide for your future family by stewarding what God has given you now. Well, here's a better one.
And another thing is, like,
work for your spiritual family.
Yes. There's so many people around the world who don't have the same opportunities we necessarily do here in the States. And so being able to work and provide for people who are underprivileged and part of our spiritual family all around the world, what a privilege and what a blessing to be able to be a blessing to those people as well.
Well, and finally, too, I think work is profoundly worship to God. I love this verse, Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And so ultimately, he is our master. He is the person that we work for. And those principles have freed me up a little bit in my career.
I love that. And so one thing that you mentioned then, Tim, is money. And the Bible talks about money almost more than any other subject. I was surprised to find that out. So why do you think that is, Tim? Like, why does the Bible talk about money so much?
Well, and Jesus talked about money more than any other topic, which is interesting, right? Jesus was constantly talking about money, and I think that money itself, or even the lack thereof it, is not necessarily the problem or the issue for most people. Money, it's the way that we relate to it. Right? It's like the efforts that we take to earn it and to acquire more. I've just found this in my life experience that money can steal your joy. It can put you in a place of bondage, or even worse, it can cause you to waste your life in pursuit of something that is not God ordained. Yeah. And that's a scary process. And I've been there before, right? Where money can really be Lord in your life. I think the common worldview associated with money would go something like this. If I acquire more money, then I will be happy. Yeah. If I acquire more money, and the problem isn't necessarily the acquisition of money, the problem is with that word more. Because what we find ourselves in is in this perpetual state of always looking for more. And so regardless of where you're at on the economic spectrum, you're always seeking more. And then what happens is we start comparing ourselves. Craig Rochelle used to talk about how if you want to kill something quickly, compare it. If you want to just kill something good, compare it, and we find ourselves in this like strange game where we compare ourselves to other people, and we look at them and we say, okay, I need to have at least as much as they have or more. And it's just a strange game where nobody talks about it and there's no winner.
Yeah. It makes me think of the principle underneath it of, I call it the when-then fallacy, how we often believe when I have X, then I will feel Y. Yeah. When I have this amount of money, then I will feel content. When I am at this point in my career, then I will feel like I've made it. But in reality, we're just chasing something that will never actually satisfy us at the end of the day.
Yeah, so what would you guys say to our audience? Like some people who are struggling with this, what would you say in this area?
I think that if we can stop thinking about net worth and start thinking about self-worth, that can be a really profound insight. And what might help even too is to tell you what money is not. Money is not a measure of what you're worth. Hear me when I say this and let this free you up. Jesus paid the price for you. You are an image bearer of the King of Kings, like the God that literally breathed stars into existence. He breathed his image into each person. And so your value and your worth as a human being is priceless. And so money is not a measure of our net worth and our self-worth. I think it's good to remember that. Money is not success. My best definition that I can give of success is stepping into the fullness of your God-ordained calling. Yeah. When a man or a woman becomes who God created them to be, they are successful. Money does not equal security. It's amazing how in the world's economy, we put so much time and effort and energy into saving, into thinking about retirement plans. And if we work really, really hard in the first 40 years, in the last 20 years, we're going to be really happy. And I think that saving absolutely has a place in terms of managing our finances. But when saving can go from becoming a good practice to an idol is when we put our faith in saving over our faith in God. Did you know every dollar bill that you have in your wallet says, "In God we trust"? So I think what that wisdom is telling us on the currency is that we need to put our trust in God when it comes to our finances. Finally, and this is probably one of the misquoted scriptures that I hear all the time, money is not evil. Have you ever heard somebody say, Zach, money is the root of all evil?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay, can I tell you what the scripture actually says? It says, the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. So what that's telling us is that money in and of itself is not evil. It is our disordered desire and our disordered love for it that actually creates and produces evil in our lives.
I love that. So,
Yeah.
in our audience tonight, if some people are listening and they are in an unhealthy spot financially, like give us some practical tips, like what they could do to kind of get out of that.
Okay, I've got 4 quick hitters. Okay, number 1, live below your means. Just because you have the money to do so doesn't mean that you necessarily need to spend it, right? Okay, number 2, make and maintain a budget. I sat down like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was in financial turmoil. And I'm like, I got to figure this out. And I feel like the gateway to freedom, the gateway drug for me, was finally sitting down with that beautiful Excel spreadsheet and making a budget and becoming aware of what I was spending and what was coming in. Okay, this one's profound. Are you ready? Buy less stuff.
Oh wow. That's hard.
I mean, that could change your life right there. Like next time you're on Amazon and you're like, you're about to click the buy now because that thing's going to arrive in 13 hours on your front doorstep. Maybe just wait until the next day. Just give yourself a little bit of patience. And then finally, what I think is probably the most important one and the one that I just want to end our time on tonight is practice generosity. The world's economy and God's economy are 2 completely separate theologies. In the world's economy, Molly, it tells us that if I give to you, I become poor, you become rich, right? It literally, like the numbers in my bank account drop and the numbers in your bank account go up. That makes sense to us. Yeah. In God's economy, he gives to us, right? Because all things are created through him and for him. So what God will do is he will bless us as his image bearers. And when I give to you, what he will do is he will give to me so that I can continue to be a blessing to you.
I love that.
And so as we start to think about finances, what I would encourage everyone who's listening to us is just to think about how can I start to develop a worldview of the kingdom economy instead of the world's economy. I'll share this last story before we start to close for the evening. God has worked more in my life through the avenue of finances than any other area. And I don't know why he chose that specific area. Probably because he knows that my heart is inclined to love money. And so like he's worked in that area. And I was in church several years ago. I heard this teaching from my pastor at the time. And he shared this verse. You can put that verse up, Malachi 3:10. In the verse, this is God speaking to the prophet Malachi. He says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store." And I remember that day sitting in that church building, and I heard the pastor say, this is the only place in the Bible where God says, test me. Do you know that? Yeah. There's a lot of proverbs that say, do not test the Lord Almighty. But this is the one place where God is beckoning us as his kids, and he's saying, hey, test me in this. Like, I care deeply about this. Have you guys ever prayed a prayer that changed your life? Okay, back in 2016, I prayed a prayer that changed my life, and I just asked God after hearing this message, God, would you give me an opportunity to give? Like, would you just give me an opportunity to be generous? I don't know how to do this, but I want to. And a few days later, I was scrolling through my emails, and I see this email pop up from a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and I just see a picture of these students at the CU Boulder campus being baptized. And she worked for this campus ministry called Stumo, and I was like, that's really cool. And it kind of felt like an answer to prayer. I was trying to hear God, and it's like, okay, there's this awesome thing that's happening. So I scroll to the bottom of the email, and I see a button at the bottom that says, click here to give to the ministry of Jason and Molly Soderstrom. Wow. And I clicked give, and I got a phone call about a month later from this quick-talking guy from Oklahoma named Jason, and he literally says, who are you? And I said, I'm just this guy who saw this email, and he's like, let's go meet up. And that meeting at that Qdoba in Firestone, Colorado in 2016 changed the trajectory of my life. And so I think that we can all agree, like in this verse, when God talks about blessing, sometimes our understanding as humans of blessing is different from God's understanding. Yeah. But I can say confidently that small act of generosity, and I'm not here to say like, hey, I'm awesome. Like, that's not my heart in this. My heart is that I want everybody to experience the floodgates of heaven. in terms of God pouring out his blessing on all people. And if the key that unlocks the floodgates of heaven is generosity, then I want you as my friends, as people that I pastor, to experience that incredible blessing. Yeah. And so as we close tonight, I actually want to bring up just for a few minutes a mentor, somebody who I think has taught me a lot, but specifically on this topic of generosity. So would you guys just help me bring up to the stage the lead pastor at Restoration, Ron Johnson.
Am I standing? Oh, I got a chair. This is great. Man,
A+ service around here,
dude,
Ron.
no kidding.
Join us.
Hi, you guys. What am I talking about?
Okay, so I want to start with just a couple questions, Ron. You are 59, even though you don't look it. You are a young man in your 50s. What would your 59-year-old self say to your 25-year-old self?
So I've had a lot of therapy, but I need more. I like a lot more. So I'm not like the most gentle person with my inner child. So I'd probably start off with something like, listen up, idiot. When I was like in my mid-20s, would you say 23, 25, what would you say?
We'll say 23. In fact, I think, wait, Ron,
20s.
I think we might have a picture of you when you were about that.
Okay, I saw this earlier. That's 21.
That's 21.
That's 21.
Look at that hair.
It's so bad.
A lot of hair.
Wow.
I was like a Q-tip. But anyway, what would I say? First of all, don't grow a mullet. Because after 2 years after that, I had a mullet. Because it was the thing. You guys know what a mullet is, even? Okay, you know, like you have long hair in the back, and it's like short in the very redneck kind of looking haircut. I had one for years. And like I was in like biathlons and triathlons. It was like the cool haircut if you were doing those kind of events. I would say, don't wear a mullet. That's just stupid. So, but I was just like, I just didn't have a lot of wisdom. I didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't grow up in a home where my dad taught me a whole lot. He was gone all the time. I didn't have mentors. I didn't have a community like this. And so I would definitely say, don't do a mullet. I'd also say, I was dating at 23, and I would say, don't marry somebody you haven't dated for a whole year. And we'd been friends for like a year and a half. And I thought, well, that's good enough. I kind of know her. But when you know somebody as a friend, it's very different than knowing somebody that you're like in a relationship with, and people are, you figure this out by now, they're different in a relationship than they are as friends. And I went 6 months and got married, and some of you know my story, but I was married 26 years, and it was really, really hard. And I would say definitely date for a year, go through the seasons together. And there's things I would tell myself to keep doing. If I could go back in time, there were a few things I did do right. So I was discipled by a guy in a student ministry, kind of like Stumo, and he got me into the Bible, and man, I just could not read it enough. Like, I was eating it up. I would read for hours a day. I was memorizing a verse a day for like 3 years, and I'm really glad I did that. So I would tell myself, hey, keep doing that. Like, saturate yourself in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And don't just like want to learn and be a nerd, but like actually try to do it.
Yeah.
And I did try to do as much as I could with what I heard. And then to your topic, I started tithing when I was about 19 or 20. I was in it, like you. I was in a church service, Malachi 3:10. Pastor said, hey, this is the one place he says, test him. And so I go, okay. I mean, when I got to lose, I sell shoes, and I make like $500 a month. Sure. Yeah, I'm $50 a month.
You had a backup
Let's
plan.
start there. And so I started tithing. And I've been tithing at least 10% now for, what is it, like 40 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've learned there's two kinds of people, because I preach on this stuff, right? And there's people who say, I can never do that. I can never give 10%. Tithe means 10%. I can never do that. And there are people who do it, and they always say, I'm so blessed. I am just so blessed. And I'm here to tell you tonight, I am so blessed. Like, God has blessed me again and again and again. I could tell you story after story after story about God's blessed me spiritually. Like, I don't just know the promises in the Bible about generosity. Like, I know them. Like, I've experienced them. I mean, even last year, Chris and I give like usually 12% or so the last couple of years. But God told us to give a lot to be able to get this building. So we gave, and I think I may be losing my reward tonight, because you're not supposed to let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I'm doing this for you guys, okay?
Yeah.
I'm losing my reward. But we gave 25% of our income away last year. And it was big gulp stuff. Like, first, Chris had a number. We go, you pray about your number, I'll pray about my number. And Chris, and this is where I'm going from 23 to 59. Chris has said, give me the number. And I go, oops, that's a lot lower than mine. So I had to step that number up. And we gave that number. And we came back later, and God said, give again. We're like, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of money, God. And we did that. And I would say we're really blessed.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't had a financial return on that, but again, we know God. We know God. And we're free. Like, we're really free. Like, we still worry about money. We're human, right? But, like, we just don't have the worry level that I think we would have if we weren't giving.
Yeah.
And it's not like I feel like God owes me anything. It's just, it's freed up our hearts.
Yeah. And God doesn't promise explicitly in his word to make us all rich. But what he does promise is that he will meet our needs. And I feel like there's like this consistency of him meeting your needs in your story, which has been really cool. Ron, if there's just someone in this room who's maybe taking the first steps of practicing generosity in their lives, what advice would you give them?
I just say jump on both feet. Like, if you're getting nudged in this area, and even if you're not, just out of sheer obedience, forget the nudge. I would just say do it. Like, it's never going to get easier. Like, the more money you make, it gets harder to give, not easier. You think, oh, I got a debt someday. Even if you get a debt, it's still going to be hard. It's always hard. I've been on the edge of bankruptcy twice, and I still tithe, and God took care of me. So I go, don't wait till it's just right. Just start doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I don't think I have enough faith to give 10%, give the most you can give in faith for now. Does that make sense? Okay. And I can't think of a better place to give than the Brook. Wow. Thanks for teaming me up. It's so convenient that I'm here tonight.
I'm here for you, Ron.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, can I ask for money for the Brook?
I mean, if you'd like to, go ahead.
Do you feel led?
I feel led. I think the Holy
do
Spirit's
that
speaking
right
through
now.
you right now.
All right, I'm taking over. You guys can go away.
Okay.
If you want.
All right.
Okay. So it's really hard to be these guys and ask for money because they get paid. Okay. So I'm going to be the advocate tonight. Can we thank have you benefited from these guys tonight? I bet you have. Not just tonight, but all the time, right? How many of you have ever benefited from a Brook happy hour gathering, multiplied training, simple church? If you haven't raised your hand, get it up, you ingrates over there on the left. All right, you have all benefited. You're benefiting tonight. So take a guess. How many people in the Brook actually give to the Brook? I'm gonna do a shout out. Anybody? 2 people? Whoa. Okay. It's not a lot, but more than that. But okay. 20 people. So Molly raises support. There's like 7 people who are kind of helping out with the Brook. Molly raises support. Tim raises support. Plus he works a full-time job. Everyone on staff is raising support, or they're working other jobs or whatever. So 20 people give to the Brook. 7 of those 20 people are on staff and help the Brook. So there's 13 people who actually give to the Brook. Okay, I think we can change that tonight. Don't you guys think we can change that? So here, go ahead and clap for that one. That's worth clapping for. Okay. So here's my ask on behalf of these guys. I get nothing from this. Okay. I would ask you before you go to bed tonight to give something to the Brook. Okay, just pray and do it. And then I would encourage you to not just give a one-time gift, but to automate, because they have a budget to keep every single month, and they need money to keep growing the Brook. This actually takes some resources to do what they do. And they could easily just, throw events, happy hours and worship events, but man, they're in the grinder every day, elbow over elbow, discipling you guys, raising up leaders, starting Simple Church. They're doing the hard work that most people who lead ministries don't want to do. They're relationally stewarding the relationships in this room. So I just encourage you to give. And if you need a number, start $100 or something. But can you guys do that? Go home and pray tonight about becoming not just a taker, but a giver to the Brook. I see some nodding heads. And if you're not nodding your head, I'm going to pray for you right now. Okay? Father, thank you so much for what we heard tonight. God, you're a God who uses those seasons where we feel like we're in a crisis, some kind of midlife. I've read every 10 years people go through a crisis. You use those inflection points in our lives to soften our hearts, to humble us, and I believe to invite us into a deeper relationship with you. And so I pray tonight that would be our truth, that whatever you've spoken to us tonight, especially those of us who feel like we're in some kind of a crisis, that we lean heavy into you and we discover your goodness at a deeper level. And Father, I thank you that your word is true. It says in Acts 20:35, Jesus said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. At the end of the day, you don't really want so much something from us as you do for us. And you say, where our treasure is, there will our heart be also. And so, Father, tonight as we give because you've given so much to us. And you bless us to be a blessing. And you've given us the blessing of knowing you. You've given us the blessing of sharing with others. of being in simple churches and multiplying spiritual families. You've given us everything. He who did not spare his own son, but graciously gave him to us, how will you not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? And so we trust you tonight, and we are eager to stand up right now and worship you for your goodness and your many blessings. In Jesus' name, amen. You guys just stand, let's worship.
Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won, for you have never failed me yet. I'll sing it out. Your promise still stands. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Oh, your promise still stands. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. You never will. As we sing this bridge together, I want you to put your faith behind these words. Whatever you're believing the Lord for this evening, put your faith behind these words. Come on, let's sing it together. I've seen you move. Come on. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe. Oh, every voice, come on. promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. Oh, I'm confident you never fail. You never fail. Oh, I'll just tell him tonight, you never fail. You never fail. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. No, I am a child of God. I'm no longer
guys are dismissed. Go hang out, talk to people, hang out. Yeah, just have fun.
Two kids with their hearts on fire. Who's gonna save us now? When we thought that we couldn't get higher, things started looking down. I look at you and you look at me like nothing but strangers now. Two kids with their hearts on fire. Don't let it burn us out. Think about what you believe in now. Am I someone you cannot live without? 'Cause I know I don't wanna live without you. Yeah, come on, let's turn this all around. Bring it all back to the bar downtown when you wouldn't let me walk out. You, yeah, you said, hey, what you doing for the rest of your life? And I said, I don't even
the sun goes down. I'ma take this love and spread it all out. Take back my time from these books I don't write and start on my own self with some stories to tell. Remember last year when we couldn't leave town, so we stayed up all night, let the stars go round, and my car broke down on the side of the road. Didn't tell anybody, kept it on the low, and my boss told me better get your to be as the sky. Sunburned and lonely, sipping tea in the bar by the roadside. Don't you know there's other boys too? Gotta love that afro hair. Maybe sometime we feel the fade, but it's alright. Why stay the same? Feel the change, don't you think it's strange? Girl, put your records on, tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sunflower and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Just one thing I can take. Pity for pity's sake. Some nights kept me awake. I thought that I was stronger. We're gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer. Do what you want to. Girl, put your records on. On a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without. Watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar. Strawberries on a summer evening. Baby, you're the end of June. I want your belly and that summer feeling. Getting washed away in you. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. Watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high. I just wanna taste it. I just wanna taste it. Watermelon sugar high. Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want your belly and that summer feeling. I don't know if I could ever go without. Watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high. I just wanna taste it. I just wanna the love that you might find is gonna save our lives. I gave my trust to the wrong man, the wrong man. Well, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I was born on a good day, seen the world through children's eyes. My, how those years go by. Those years go by. If you don't know where you're going, don't you wish that on me? So you don't know where you're going, don't you wish that on me? Quit wasting my time, telling me what you think is right. You can spend your whole life going on and on with what you call news. I woke up on a good day looking into children's eyes. I see those years fly by. You know those years just fly. If you don't know where you're going, don't you wish that on And so now if I